Welcome to On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. In this gripping YouTube series, Detective Cardinale delves into the most notorious crimes that have captivated America. Which crime will be discussed tonight? Will it be a mass shooting, a murder, a rape, or a bank robbery? Whatever it is, it shocked America. Step into the world of crime investigation as Detective Cardinale uncovers the truth behind the crime. Delve into the web of intrigue surrounding the suspects involved in the crime. Detective Cardinale will analyze their motives, alibis, and connections to the crime. Don't miss out on the thrilling journey of uncovering the truth. On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale goes live on air right now.
Crime Time Live.
Tonight, on the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale, we'll break down a killer nurse. A nurse is supposed to be someone you trust while staying in the hospital. Can you ever imagine a nurse causing your death? Charles Cullen was just that nurse. During his time as a nurse, Charles Cullen is said to have murdered dozens, possibly hundreds of patients during his 16-year career as a nurse. Charles Cullen was arrested in 2003, and his arrest put an end to his killing. Learn all about the extreme killer nurse on this episode of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale.
Crime Time Live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. Tonight, we are talking about another killer nurse. He is known as the extreme killer nurse, Charles Cullen. Charles Cullen is reported to have killed as many as hundreds of patients. So imagine you are a nurse and you have the potential to wipe out hundreds of patients. And that is what Charles Cullen did. And that is why he is known as one of the worst killer nurses out there. It is horrific what he is able to get away with, or so he thought. He got caught a couple years after his crimes, but it's a shame what he did. He killed a lot of patients. So when you're in the hospital and you are a patient, you are thinking that a nurse is going to be taking care of you and not killing you. Well, that's exactly what happened in this case. We have another killer nurse, and his name is Charles Cullen. So, get all the details about Charles Cullen, including how he killed people and how he got caught. So let's go ahead and get this episode of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale started. And here is what you need to know about this case. Here is some good information to get us started on this case. So, Charles Edmund Cullen, who was born February 22nd, 1960, is an American serial killer. Charles Cullen, a nurse, murdered dozens, possibly hundreds, of patients during a 16-year career spanning several New Jersey and Pennsylvania medical centers until being arrested in 2003. He confessed to committing as many as 40 murders, at least 29 of which have been confirmed, though interviews with police, psychiatrists, and journalists suggest he committed many more. Victims: 29 confirmed victims, several hundred more are suspected, and he had 6 more attempts. So Charles Cullen impacted the lives of many people. He's got 29 confirmed dead victims, several hundred more are suspected, and he is convicted of 6 more attempts to kill people. The span of his crimes: he was a killer nurse from 1988 to 2003 in the country of the United States and in 2 states, in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So that's the information you need to know about this case. Charles Cullen was a nurse. He murdered dozens, possibly hundreds of patients during a 16-year career, and it was in the United States in 2 states, New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So now let's talk about the perpetrator. Let's talk about the suspect, Charles Cullen, shall we? Here is some information on the suspect. Charles Cullen was born on February 22nd, 1960, in West Orange, New Jersey. He was raised in a working-class Catholic family as the youngest of 8 children. His father, Edmund, was a bus driver, and he died on September 17, 1960, when Charles was 7 months old. Cullen later described his childhood as miserable and claimed to have been constantly bullied by his schoolmates and sister's boyfriends. When he was age 9, he made the first of many suicide attempts by drinking chemicals from a chemistry set. Cullen's mother, Florence Cullen, was born in England and emigrated to the U.S. after World War II as a war bride. She was killed in a car accident on December 6, 1977. Charles Cullen, then 17 years old at the time, was in his senior year of high school. Charles Cullen recalled his mother's death as being devastating and described being upset that the hospital did not immediately inform him of her death and cremated her body instead of returning it. The following year, Charles Cullen graduated from West Orange High School and enlisted in the United States Navy. He served aboard the submarine USS Woodrow Wilson. He successfully passed basic training and the psychological examinations required for submarine crews, who were expected to spend as long as 2 months at a time being submerged in a cramped vessel. Charles Cullen rose to the rank of Petty Officer, 2nd class, as part of the team that operated the vessel's Poseidon missiles. He did not fit in during his time in the Navy and was hazed and bullied by his fellow crewmen. A year into his service, Charles Cullen's leading petty officer aboard Woodrow Wilson's discovered him seated at the missile controls wearing a surgical mask, gloves, and scrubs rather than his uniform. He was disciplined for that action, but never explained why he had dressed that way. The Navy reassigned Cullen to a lower pressure job on the supply ship USS Canopus. He attempted suicide and was committed to the Navy psychiatric ward several times over the subsequent few years. Charles Cullen received a medical discharge from the Navy in 1984 for undisclosed reasons. Shortly after his discharge, Charles Cullen enrolled at Mountainside Hospital's nursing school in Montclair, New Jersey. Elected president of his nursing class, he graduated in 1986 and started work at the burn unit of St. Barnabas Medical Center in Livingston, New Jersey. Meanwhile, Charles met and married Adriana Baum in 1987. Their daughter, the first of 2 girls, was born later that year. However, Charles Cullen's wife became increasingly disturbed at his unusual behavior and his abuse of the family dogs. In 1993, she filed a restraining order against him based on her fear that he might endanger her and their 2 children. She claimed that Cullen had spiked people's drinks with lighter fluid, burned his daughter's books, and left his daughters with a babysitter for a week. Cullen denied these claims, saying that his wife was exaggerating. Nevertheless, she continued to insist that Cullen was mentally ill. And that is some information on Charles Cullen. Now, the million-dollar question is, what would cause a nurse to want to cause harm to his patients? What would cause a nurse such as Charles Cullen to want to kill multiple of his patients? Well, let's find out the possible motive from Charles Cullen. Here is Charles Cullen's possible motive. Charles stated that he had overdosed patients to spare them from being seen going into cardiac or respiratory arrest and being listed as a code blue emergency. He told detectives that he could not bear to witness or to hear about attempts at saving a victim's life. Cullen also stated that he gave patients overdoses so that he could end their suffering and prevent hospital personnel from dehumanizing them. However, not all of his victims were terminal ill patients. Some, like Gal, had been expected to recover before Charles Cullen killed them. The nurse Lynn Tester described many of the victims as people on the mend in a police interview. Investigators stated that Cullen may have caused patients to suffer, but did not realize it, which contradicted his claims of wanting to save patients. Similarly, Cullen told investigators that although he often observed patients suffering for several days, the decision to commit each murder was performed on impulse. Cullen told detectives in December 2003 that he lived most of his life in a fog and that he had blacked out memories of murdering most of his victims. He said that he could not recall how many he killed or why he had chosen them. In some cases, Charles Cullen adamantly denied committing any murders at a given faculty. However, after reviewing medical records, he admitted that he had been involved in patient deaths. So that is the potential motive that Charles Cullen gave to the police about why he killed so many of his patients. It was believed that he told them it was to spare them from being seen into going into cardiac or respiratory arrest and to prevent hospital personnel from dehumanizing them. That is just crazy that he thinks by killing them, he's saving them. That is what a murder thinks like. So that's his possible motive. Now, let's learn about his actual crimes. Charles Cullen's actual crimes were murders. So here is some information on the murders. The first murders to which Charles Cullen later confessed occurred at St. Barnabas. On July 11th, 1988, he administered a lethal overdose of intravenous medication to a patient. Cullen eventually admitted to killing several other patients at St. Barnabas, including an AIDS patient who died after Cullen gave him an overdose of insulin. Cullen left St. Barnabas in January 1992 when the hospital authorities began investigating the contaminated IV bags. The investigation later determined that Cullen had most likely been responsible, resulting in dozens of patient deaths at the hospital. 1 month after leaving St. Barnabas, Charles Cullen took a job at Warner Hospital in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, where he murdered 3 elderly women with overdoses of the heart medication dioxin. His final victim said that a sneaky male nurse had injected her as she slept. However, family members and healthcare providers at the hospital dismissed her comments as unfounded. Wow, that is horrific that her own family members and healthcare providers did not believe her. And in the end, it cost her her life, unfortunately. This woman was just one of Charles Cullen's many victims. The following year, Charles Cullen moved into a basement apartment in Phillipsburg after a continuous divorce from his wife. Charles Cullen later claimed that he wanted to quit nursing in 1993, but the court-ordered child support payments forced him to continue working. In March of 1993, Charles Cullen broke into a co-worker's home while she and her young son slept, but he left without waking them. He then began stalking the woman, who filed a police report against him. Cullen subsequently pleaded guilty to trespassing and received 1 year of probation. The day after his arrest, he made another suicide attempt. Charles Cullen took 2 months off from work and was treated for depression in 2 psychiatric faculties. However, he attempted suicide twice more by the end of the year. That September, a 91-year-old cancer patient at Warren Hospital reported that Cullen, who was not her assigned nurse, had come into her room and injected her with a needle. She died the next day. That is horrible. A 91-year-old cancer patient sees this killer injecting her with a needle. Her son protested that her death was not natural, and the hospital administered a lie detector test to Cullen and several other nurses, which he passed. Wow, that's surprising that he passed that. Cullen continued to work at Warren until the following spring. Charles Cullen began a 3-year stint in the intensive care unit of Hunter Doan Medical Center in Flemington, New Jersey. He claimed that he did not harm anyone during the first 2 years at Hunter Doan. However, hospital records for that period had been destroyed at the time of his arrest in 2003. Cullen admitted to murdering 5 patients between January and September of 1996, again with overdoses of dioxin. He then found work at Morristown Memorial Hospital, but was soon fired for poor performance. Cullen remained unemployed for 6 months and stopped making child support payments. After seeking treatment for depression in the Warren Hospital emergency room, he was briefly admitted to a psychiatric faculty. In February 1998, Charles Cullen was hired by the Liberty Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where he staffed a ward of respiratory dependent patients. There, he was accused of giving patients drugs at unscheduled times. He was fired after being seen entering a patient's room with syringes in his hand, an encounter that left the patient with a broken arm. Charles Cullen caused a patient's death at Liberty Hospital, which was blamed on another nurse. After leaving Liberty, Charles Cullen was employed at Easton Hospital from November 1998 to March 1999. On December 30th, 1998, he murdered yet another patient. A coroner's blood test showed lethal amounts of dioxin in the patient's blood, but an internal investigation within Easton Hospital was inconclusive. Evidence did not definitively point to Cullen as the murderer. Even with his history of mental instability and the number of deaths during his employment at various hospitals, Charles Cullen continued to find work because of a national shortage of nurses. Additionally, no reporting mechanisms yet existed to identify nurses with mental health or employment problems. Liability concerns made hospitals unwilling to take significant action against Cullen. In March of 1999, he took a job at the burn unit of Allentown's Lehigh Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest, where he murdered 1 patient and attempted to murder another. 1 month later, he voluntarily resigned from Lehigh Valley Hospital and took a job working in the cardiac care unit at St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. During the subsequent 3 years, Charles Cullen murdered at least 5 patients and is known to have attempted to kill 2 more. On January 11th, 2000, he once again attempted suicide by lighting a charcoal grill in his bathtub and hoped to succumb to carbon monoxide poisoning. His neighbors smelled smoke and called the fire department and police. I wish the neighbors did not call 911 because this murderer would have died from suicide and it would have spared the life of other innocent people. Charles Cullen was taken to a hospital and a psychiatric faculty, but returned home the following day. No one suspected Charles Cullen was murdering patients at St. Luke's until a co-worker found medication vials in a disposable bin. The drugs were not valuable outside the hospital, and since they were not used in recreational drug use, the theft was highly unusual. An investigation showed that Cullen had taken the medication. He was offered a deal by St. Luke's to resign and be given a neutral recommendation or to be fired. He resigned and was escorted from the building in June 2002. 7 of his co-workers at St. Luke's later alerted the Lee County District Attorney of their suspicion that he used drugs to kill patients. Investigators never looked into Cullen's past, and the case was dropped 9 months later for lack of evidence. In September of 2002, he began working in the critical care unit of the Somerset Medical Center in Somerville, New Jersey. He began dating a local woman around then, but his depression worsened. He had killed at least 13 patients and attempted to kill at least 1 more by mid-2003 using dioxin, insulin, and epiporprine. On June 18, 2003, he unsuccessfully attempted to murder Somerset patient Philip Rager, who was later discharged and died 6 months later of natural causes. Somerset began to notice Cullen's wrongdoing when he accessed the rooms and computerized records of patients to whom he was not assigned. The hospital's computerized drug dispensing cabinets showed that he was requesting medications that his patients had not been described or prescribed. His drug request included many orders that were immediately canceled and many requests within minutes of one another. In July 2003, the executive director of the New Jersey Poison Information and Education System warned Somerset officials that at least 4 suspicious overdoses indicated the possibility that an employee was killing patients. By October, Charles Cullen had killed at least 5 more patients and attempted to kill another. When a patient in Somerset died of low blood sugar in October 2003, the hospital alerted the New Jersey State Police. The patient was Charles Cullen's final victim. State officials cascaded the hospital for failing to report a non-fatal insulin overdose administered by Cullen in August. An investigation into his employment history revealed past suspicions about his involvement in patient deaths. Somerset fired Cullen on October 31st, 2003, ostensibly for lying on his job application. Somerset nurse Amy Lauren, a co-worker of Cullen's, who had been friendly with him while they worked together at Somerset, alerted the police after she had become alarmed about his records of accessing drugs and his links to patient deaths. Police kept him under surveillance for several weeks until they had finished their investigation. Investigators assigned Lauren to visit Cullen after work hours and to talk to him while she wore a wire. With that evidence, police have produced enough probable cause for arrest. Charles Cullen was arrested at a restaurant on December 12, 2003, and charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. 2 days later, on December 14th, he admitted to homicide detectives Dan Baldwin and Tim Braun that he had murdered Florin Gao and had attempted to murder Jin Kong Han, both of whom were patients at Somerset. In addition, Cullen told the detectives that he had murdered as many as 40 patients over his 16-year career. In April of 2004, Cullen pleaded guilty before Judge Paul W. Armstrong in a New Jersey court to killing 13 patients and to attempting to kill 2 others by lethal injection while he was employed at Somerset. As part of his plea agreement, Cullen promised to cooperate with authorities if they did not seek the death penalty for his crimes. A month later, he pleaded guilty to the murder of 3 more patients in New Jersey. In November of 2004, Cullen pleaded guilty in an Allentown court to killing 6 patients and trying to kill 3 others. He repeatedly interrupted the proceedings by taunting the judge with the chant, "Your Honor, you need to step down. This guy is a complete psychopath." Charles Cullen was ordered to be restrained and gagged. On March 2nd, 2006, Charles Cullen was sentenced to 18 consecutive life sentences by Judge Armstrong in New Jersey. He is not eligible for parole until June 10th, 2403. That is a long-ass time, ladies and gentlemen, and he deserves that long-ass time in jail. 2403. We're all going to be dead and gone by that time, and he will be dead and gone by that time as well. Currently, he is held at New Jersey State Prison in Trenton, New Jersey. On March 10th, 2006, 8 days later, Cole was brought into the courtroom of Lee County, Pennsylvania. Presiding judge, Judge William Platt, for a sentencing hearing. Cullen, upset with the judge, kept repeating, "Your Honor, you need to step down," for 30 minutes until Platt had Cullen gagged with cloth and duct tape. Even after being gagged, Cullen continued to try to repeat the phrase. In that hearing, Platt gave him an additional 6 life sentences. As part of his plea agreement, Cullen has been working with law enforcement officials to identify additional victims. And that is the extreme killer nurse, Charles Cullen. You know, this case is extremely disturbing. You have a nurse who is supposed to take care of his patients, but he is killing them one by one by one by one by one, and he is getting away with the majority of these killings. And it takes 16 years for him to get caught. That is absolutely disgusting. I think in today's era, he would get caught instantly and it wouldn't have been as bad. But he is definitely one of the worst killer nurses out there. So now I'm going to share my thoughts on this crime. The fact that someone that is in the medical field who is supposed to take care of patients could get away with overdosing them on medication and killing them and causing horrific death is horrific. He's worse than our last killer nurse that we talked about on the previous episode of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. And if you want to see that previous episode, just go to my YouTube channel, The Real Alex Cardinale, and go to my playlist On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale, and you can see our very first killer nurse that we talked about. But this killer nurse is extremely worse because he got away with it for a decade and 6 years. 16 years of being a nurse and 16 years of killing patients. One question is popping into my mind, and that question is whether he became a nurse or whether he entered the medical field to avenge his mother's death. Maybe he wanted to avenge the hospital for not returning the body to him or informing him that his mother had perished in a car accident. Maybe it could be some sort of sick retribution that he did, and that could be why he entered the medical field and killed all of those people. You never know with these sick individuals. They are psychotic. They only think about themselves, and they enjoy killing people. It is absolutely disgusting. And it's always the weirdos that end up killing people. It's always those that get bullied or those that are weak that end up taking it out on the people that are weaker, usually people in hospitals, senior citizens, etc. And as we learned on our last episode and today's episode, those that are most vulnerable are those that are in a hospital recovering from a surgery or a heart attack or a stroke, or those that are in a senior citizen care faculty where they are treated by nurses. So my thoughts on this case, it is absolutely horrific. I think it was total BS that it took 16 years to catch this scumbag, but I'm happy that this scumbag is in jail for the rest of his life, and I hope he has a miserable time in prison. All right, right now we're going to go ahead and take a quick intermission. During this intermission, we're going to hear a word from our newest sponsor, and then we're going to hear about some special upcoming live streams here on the Real Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. So when we come back from intermission, we're going to wrap up this amazing episode of On the Case. So while we're on intermission, be sure to share your thoughts on this crime in the comments. Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
Welcome to Saturday.
Welcome to Saturday.
Live. WRX. Cardinale. Saturday Live. Is now worldwide.
Yeehaw! That was an amazing video, right? You want to know what else is amazing? Partnering with African JoyFlix. African JoyFlix is a video production company that supports African families and African wildlife. They are very like Cameo. They create birthday greetings, they create special occasion greetings, they create anniversary greetings, they create customized video greetings for you. You can have them send a loved one a birthday video. You can have them send a loved one an anniversary video, all customizable to your liking. And it's for a great cause. It is supporting African wildlife and African families. So I, Alex Cardinale, am proud to be part of the African JoyFlix family. Now, I'm thrilled to offer this to my viewers at a discounted price of 20% off. You can get 20% off your African JoyFlix video by using the discount code WH20. So, at checkout, enter the discount code WH20 and you will get 20% off your customized video from African JoyFlix. So I challenge you and I encourage you to support African families and African wildlife and purchase one of these amazing videos that are produced by African people supporting African wildlife and African families. The video I got was amazing, and I'm sure you're going to love this video too. Discount code WH20. Click the link in the description of today's video.
It's time to go back to school, kiddos. Live this Saturday, August 31st, 2024, I, Alex Cardinale, will be hosting the second annual Back to School Saturday Live. It's been over a decade since I've been to school and since I graduated, but I know this time of year is important to the young future. I'll get you and your kids set up for a great school year. On a special Back to School Saturday Live, I will have tips for freshmen, 9th graders, and tips for seniors, 12th graders. I will have tips for a good school year for all kids. Chef Alex is back on Saturday Live, and this Saturday he will be discussing the best packed school lunches. And don't miss a very rare Detective Alex Cardinale appearance, as he will discuss school safety and a past school crime. It's Back to School 2024 Saturday Live, and it's live this Saturday, August 31st at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on YouTube channel The Real Alex Cardinale. Don't be tardy and don't miss the show. Class will be in session this Saturday.
School is in session on the next Saturday Live with Alex Cardinale. The next Saturday Live is also the final Saturday Live of August 2024. Live Saturday, August 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's a loaded Saturday Live. Alex will have tips for freshmen as they enter high school, and he will have tips for seniors as they enter the last year of their school career. Chef Alex is in the house, and Chef Alex will have recipes for school lunches. Detective Alex Cardinale makes a rare appearance as he discusses school safety and school crimes. WWE fan Alex Cardinale will recap WWE Bash in Berlin. For the first time ever on Saturday Live, there will be a restaurant review as Alex goes out to celebrate his 31st birthday with his parents. Plus, Tampa Bay Buccaneers Spotlight. I will preview the 2024 NFL regular season. The animal of the week will be the American alligator. The pet of the week will be the Dalmatian. The South Florida local business will be aquatic and exotic. And there will be facts on Stop and Shop, Disney Plus, and NFL. All that and more on the 2024 edition Back to School Saturday Live. Live Saturday, August 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on YouTube channel, The Real Alex Cardinale.
Saturday night.
Guess who is coming back to The Real Alex Cardinale YouTube channel? Chef Alex Cardinale is back, and he's coming back bigger and better than ever. It's been a while since Chef Alex has hosted a cooking and baking live stream, but he is coming back this fall and this holiday season with plenty of delicious recipes. Do you need inspiration for fall recipes? Do you need some hints of what to cook this fall? Chef Alex Cardinale will be hosting a fall recipe throwdown, and he is inviting you to tune in. It's going down live Sunday, September 15th, 2024 at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on The Real Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. Be sure to tune in and get some delicious recipes.
All right, welcome back to On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. Tonight we have been talking about the extreme killer nurse known as Charles Cullen, who killed patients during his 16-year career in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. We learned a lot about Charles Cullen, so let's do a quick recap of this crime case, and then we'll wrap up this awesome episode of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. So, here is a brief recap of this case. Charles Cullen, a nurse, murdered dozens, possibly hundreds of patients during a 16-year career spanning several New Jersey and Pennsylvania medical centers until being arrested in 2003. He confessed to committing as many as 40 murders. At least 29 have been confirmed. Though interviews with police, psychologists, psychiatrists, and journalists suggest he committed many more. It is speculated he killed up to 100 patients and caused the injuries of many other people. Very, very sick, extreme killer nurse. So I hope you all enjoyed learning about Charles Cullen. And thank God he's in prison for the rest of his miserable life. Well, on the next episode of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale, it gets worse from here. We'll be talking about an extreme nurse killer. An extreme killer nurse. On the next episode of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale, we're going to talk about the killer nurse Doug Harvey, a man who has killed way more than Charles Cullen. So on the next episode of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale, get ready to learn about the extreme killer nurse Doug Harvey. And on the episode after that, learn about the baby killer, the infant killer, Lucy Letby, who was a nurse in an infant section of the hospital, and she killed infants. Those are the next two episodes of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. So if you're a crime junkie like me, you love ID discovery, and you love watching crime documentaries here on YouTube, then be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Real Alex Cardinale, and follow my playlist, On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale, so you can watch any of my previous episodes and see my upcoming live editions of On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. As always, God bless. Thank you for watching On the Case with Detective Alex Cardinale. Remember, if you see something, say something. Never be afraid to report a crime, and never be afraid to call 911. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for watching this live stream on the Real Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. We hope you enjoyed today's live stream. Whether you learned about tropical fish, a crime, an American tragedy, or had fun on Saturday Live, your view is what keeps the great content coming. Thank you for supporting Alex Cardinale and watching this live. It's hard to believe we are quickly approaching 11 years together. Get ready for a big 11-year celebration taking place in New Jersey. Special thanks to our sponsor Oasis Aquatics for helping our channel grow. Looking for quality tropical fish? Check out oasisaquaticsnj.com. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Share this video on social media and let your friends view too. Remember, sharing is caring. Subscribe for more awesome videos. Thanks for watching and stay legendary. Goodbye for now. We will see you on the next live.